Do you feel the need for speed? Everybody who plays golf feels the need for speed. Even the slow players call the other players slow when they're behind them. So, how do we deal with slow play? How can we do something about it? How can we even understand it or make it less of an annoyance? I didn't know, so I thought I'd ask ChatGPT to help me. And the way ChatGPT works is that you get better answers if you tell it that it's an expert. So I basically told it that it was a tournament director with 30 years experience running tournaments, and basically set up the problem for the AI chatbot and explain to them the boundaries of what we were trying to deal with. And it came across with a very good program. One of the first things that it did, I asked it to put it into a table, and I asked it to develop some categories that we could consider that influence whether somebody's a slow player or not. And when you look at, someone that's looking for a ball for a long time in the middle of a fairway, that's not the same as somebody that's looking for a ball in the woods. But we have to figure out how long they're looking for their ball. That's one of the things. Club selection time. I see many times that on the tee box, the amateurs take forever to figure out what to hit, where to hit it. And a lot of time is wasted on the tee box. And then actually, there's not enough time spent on the greens, and they end up having poor putting results because of lopsided application of time management. And so, if they would spend a little more time on the greens, just reading the putts, not stroking them, but actually just getting a little look at it, it's okay to walk to the other side of the cup. But when you're taking more than a minute to play the shot, you're way over bounds. Okay. 40 seconds is plenty of time, and that's what's in typical amateur player tournament rules. So 40 seconds. And when you look at what ChatGPT threw out as sort of some criteria for what's a fast, medium, or slow player, you can kind of see it's reasonable. I think that these are the areas where we see people wasting time, either picking their club, taking practice swings, taking how much time they stand over the ball. We see some people who freeze and they look like statues and act like statues. You're kind of looking around for pigeons to make sure that your friend doesn't get hit. Green reading can take forever, but it's important to read enough to make sure that you're going to have the best chance of making the putt. And then overall pace. A lot of people think a 4 hour round is normal. That's slow, ladies and gentlemen. It takes a long time is 4 hours, but everyone who's a slow player tells you that if they finish in 4.5 hours, that was fast. Sorry. Most of the slow players think they're fast. That's not the case. I think that what you'll see is that most of the players that gripe about the pace of play are, at least the ones who say that the pace is too fast, they're slow players. Saw it happen in a tournament where people who got moved along and they were screaming and yelling at every putt after that. Every time they had to put the pin in, they were slamming it in. They just got very upset in trying to keep their pace up. So, but that's something that they never felt. Unfortunately, the fast, good players who have to wait for all the slow players, they've been doing that their whole lives. They've been frustrated, and their games have been ruined because there's people out there who say they're on a par five and they have a poor tee shot, and they know that they can't get it over the water to the green. The group in front is on the green. They know they're going to have to lay up. They even say, I'm going to lay up. And then they go start looking for balls in the creek instead of laying up. Hit the layup shot before the group in front clears the green. You're not going to hit it on the green anyway. So that's part of the problem, is people not knowing when to hit the ball, not knowing when to take the shot. I think a system like this is something that can help at least give us a starting point to do something, maybe not in public play, but in tournament play or in weekend buddy play where you have your text list of all your buddies. You know who slow folks are? Put them all together, put them in the final group. Okay. If they're all together and they're in the final group and they finish more than 14 minutes out of position, two-stroke penalty for everybody. Sometimes you're going to have arguments as far as who was the slow player that caused the whole group to be 14 minutes behind time. Well, solution there, give everybody a blank piece of paper. They all write it down. If they come back with 3-1, then you know who the slow player was. If it's 2-2, then everybody gets a penalty. That's pretty easy. Uh, there's probably not going to be a 4-0. Otherwise, the guy that voted for himself knew he was the slowest. And maybe that happens. Maybe they know they're slow. We've had players who actually say, I paid my money. I'm going to take as long as I want. Or other golf tournaments don't start on time. We can wait 10 minutes. There's always an excuse. So with some way to incentivize these slower players, putting them at the very end of the tournament, where the fast players start to stretch out and get done in 3.5 hours. The slow players get done in 4.5 hours and think they're fast, and then wonder why everybody was done an hour before they were. Plus, they would then start to watch what a slow player looks like. Mixing slow players and fast players doesn't make the slow players any faster. The fast players' habits don't rub off. And I've never been able to make a slow player play faster. All I can do is just leave them behind. So I think something can be done to change it. I would think that the industry would be incentivized to do something. Again, this is going to be tough on a public level, but on tournaments or anything that you have control over who gets in and who doesn't, you can start keeping track of how fast they play, when they're ready to play, and start scoring. Start giving them a player speed index. And the players that improve their index get rewarded by getting better tee times and playing with the faster groups. And I think that that's something that would work in a smaller private setting. So hopefully this is an idea, get some discussion stimulated, and we can all help improve the game. Thank y'all.